Time Countdown's number 2 story. Tonight's worst persons in the world, the Bronze. Congressman Lamar Smith of Texas unveiling his new Media Fairness Caucus. A dozen Republican congressmen, he said, will now point out unfair stories, meet with members of the media, and write op-eds and letters to the editor because, quote, the greatest threat to America is not necessarily a recession or even another terrorist attack. The greatest threat to America is a liberal media bias. First off, if we really were running a liberal media, who in the world would be dumb enough to book Liz Cheney on every show except Wheel of Fortune? Secondly, liberal media bias, a greater threat than terrorism. Will you submit voluntarily to a breathalyzer test, Congressman? Thirdly, a dozen Republican congressmen are going to be the watchdogs for a grateful nation. Mr. Smith, don't you think you guys should focus first on just trying to become actual congressmen instead of low-octane jokes? A tie at the silver, Elizabeth Hasselbeck and Michael Rubin of the National Review Online. They didn't like what they said they didn't hear from the president's speech today in Cairo. Ms. Hasselbeck said he stressed changing course, and he didn't mention the word democracy, which had some people kind of upset. Mr. Rubin wrote under the headline, Obama abandons democracy. Quote, Obama studiously avoids the word democracy. One hopes there is no intermittent deafness afflicting either individual, because here is President Obama not mentioning the word democracy today 4 times in Cairo.
The fourth issue that I will address is democracy. I know there has been controversy about the promotion of democracy in recent years. There are some who advocate for democracy only when they're out of power. Elections alone do not make true democracy.
So, once again, a blatant falsehood about Obama is presented as fact, and an entire portion of the community already inclined to believe that falsehood, with or without the slightest sliver of evidence, because of its own prejudices, swallows it whole. I mean, look at Elizabeth. But the winner, Jill Stanek of the infamous WorldNet Daily, who did not get the point in the assassination of Dr. George Tiller that you can be complicit in such a crime even if you never met the man nor his assassin. Ms. Stanek has now posted pictures and addresses of the only 2 remaining physicians who will provide late-term abortions when the woman's life is in danger. So here's a little switch, Ms. Stanek. You'll never understand that in a just world, to tell a bunch of crazy people like your readers where they can find somebody and abuse, threaten, or kill them, that should be enough of a crime to put you in jail for the rest of your life. So let's try this one out instead. You do realize that by posting online the addresses of these 2 doctors' clinics, you've probably enabled some woman seeking their help to now find them and get an abortion. You, Jill Stanek, have just enabled an abortion. Jill Stanek of WorldNet Daily, today's worst person in the world.